Welcome to these Sci-Fi guys. I'm Dave, your host, and with me is Chad and John. And as you guys saw earlier, we had just watched the movie Looper. All right, so hey, how do I get this thing back to where we're supposed to be? There we go. All right, I had to find the right button. Let me since I got y'all's attention here, you guys can reach us on X at these sci-fi guys. You can either tag us in a tweet or you can personal message us PM. Same with Chad or myself. We're both on X. John's not on X, but you can go ahead and email these sci-fi guys at gmail.com and make sure it gets out to everybody. So now that we've had our fun for the day, Chad and I were talking offline, and he has never seen this movie either. So it's really a first for all of us. So, uh, so before we start, okay, what did we all think of the movie? We'll start, John. How about we start with you? What did you think?
I mean, definitely hands down an entertaining film. I'll give it that much. Maybe not the most technically accurate in any way, shape, or form, but um, I definitely at least enjoyed the entertainment value, and I enjoyed the watch for the most part. So, yeah, it was a good movie on my end.
Okay, Chad.
I like the movie. It's good watch, especially with Bruce Willis and a few of the actors that's on there. And that's the only thing if you probably didn't have those actors, like especially Bruce Willis, I don't think people would actually watch this movie. But it's a very good movie to watch. Good, very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. I thought it was entertaining. I thought I had seen it, but actually I'd seen like little clips of him shooting people, and then I think I watched like How It Should Have Ended several years ago, and I was like, oh, I know how it ends, and then so I never watched the movie, but I had a real good time with this. So yeah, I think we all had that. So Chad's the one that picked out this movie, so he's got our questions for the day. So the synopsis, if you guys want to know what synopsis is, people come from the future. They throw people through this time machine, and people in the past kill them and get rid of the bodies. That's it. So and then they started closing the loops. When they say closing the loops, meaning that the person that is the looper, the one that kills the people in the past, his body comes back and he's supposed to kill himself.
Yeah, some people are doing it intentionally, and some find out they don't.
Yeah, okay. Before we ask questions, why do you have to have the same person kill himself from the future? Why didn't they just assign it to somebody else?
The money,
Yeah, that
everything.
seems so unintentional.
Well, you got to
Like, I
think.
mean,
It would save so many issues.
yeah,
you
because
know,
that all the future self has to do is make a commotion, and suddenly you know who they are, and like, oh, why would I kill myself? Like, no, that's too much hassle.
exactly.
Well, you got to think. You close it. You kill the people. You get the silver
The
bars.
gold, now
The,
not the
the,
silver, the gold.
well, this is when they close the lid, they get gold. So how would they get their gold if another looper did it?
But they wouldn't have to get the gold in the long run. They could just keep doing it for a lot longer. You know,
Or they
you
get
wouldn't have
somebody
to
else's gold
retire.
because you just send the gold to somebody else, like a
Yeah,
different looper.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
I'm close to
Okay.
your
You just
loop.
took out. Yeah. You just took out this guy's. You just killed this person's loop. So here you go.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know. I just thought I thought that was kind of one of those weird
yeah.
why questions.
Like I said,
But anyway,
there's a lot of loopholes in this movie that you can go down and be a lot of rabbit holes.
exactly. Thus why it's called Looper, I think,
Yeah.
because there's so many loopholes.
So I don't know if you noticed this. I forgot what year it was. The year like I forgot the year it was based out of. But you saw these old cars that was driving around. Well, Joe's car was a. Anybody remember what it was? What it looked
It
like?
was a Mazda Miata, and I'm sorry, that's a chick car.
Yeah. Well, here's this first question: What car would you have? What car would you drive for the night on the town, but not the Miata?
All right, John, you want to
I,
answer this, or do you want me to?
You can go ahead on this one first.
Okay. First of all, when he's driving through the town, you saw how many near misses and how many other people were getting killed. I mean, I saw a couple people get shot, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Where's the cops?" So there's no cops around. All right, I'm driving around an H1 Hummer or a Brinks armored vehicle. All right, I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't need to look fancy and all that driving around in a convertible. Well, gee, that's just an easy way to get my head shot off. I'm driving around in something big with some armor plating on it. Period. And if I inadvertently run over somebody, I'm sorry. Oops, it happens.
I mean, I'm thinking more like classic armored vehicle. Like, if you're gonna go a classic car and fit into the world, I mean, go classic like Bel Air or something like that. Heavy metal on the outside, maybe add some reinforcements, call it a day. Either that or I'm going super
now that
fast and just chilling with a motorcycle. Because with an actual motorcycle, you're flying through town, nobody can get you anyway, but it's a lot more open to accidents. So if I'm going
Yeah.
tank route, I mean, that looks good. I'm going old like Bel Air, old 50s car that has some heavy metal on it.
those were classics too. I mean, and they just looked
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah.
Hey, you going classic? Let's I go. What's the Lincoln Continental? The one of the doors that open both
Yeah, the car that
JFK.
no the gr- Black Hornet, Green Hornet
Yeah,
Green
drove.
Hornet, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Green Hornet, but make it look like the Animal House car at the very. So I want to go with me on it because this is like a very chick car to drive. I'm like, if you get in there and you're worried about people killing you, make that your house where nobody can find you. You're always on the move. So
Yeah, that's true. I
that,
like the Animal House though. I think
yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. Like it, or you really can go. You can go in style, and you can go ahead and ride around in a hearse and have the Ghostbuster symbol on it. And,
yeah, or do what the Revenge of the Nerds with part two of the little amphibious vehicle.
I actually don't remember that.
They popped
Uh,
up. They desert him on the island, and they find that in a bunker, and then drive it back across, and it ends up in the pool. That's when Booger joined the Nerds. Not Booger, but the big guy that
golly, I don't remember the second movie. I don't. I'm sure I've seen it, but it's been so long.
it's
Anyway,
been so
that's
long. But it's just stuff like that. Like, but Animal House was probably the one I would be going with because it's just looks cool and just armored.
yeah, yeah.
So, all right, I think we here's a oddball question. Do you think Abe? This is Gary Daniels' character. Where was his younger self at the time? Because remember, Gary Daniels was actually from the future to manage these loopers. So where was his self, his younger self?
I have no idea. I actually thought who was the guy that was an idiot?
The
Um,
I don't I don't know his name because he was an idiot. It was more,
yeah,
hey, did you shoot your foot off for that again?
yeah. I actually thought it was him. I thought it was him. He had kind of figured out as the movie went along, and then came back and was trying to help him along, and that's the only reason why he wasn't dead. you know,
Yeah,
I really, but I have no idea. We were talking off air. We were earlier, and made a joke about, well, what if it really was Joe in a alternate timeline? So instead of killing Bruce Willis, he went forward and then came back and then kind of ran the loopers. That'd be some messed up stuff in there. So
add the multiverse to this movie.
yeah, yeah, we're not doing Spider Man, and we're not doing Doctor Strange. Adding all this into there, so I don't know. John,
Yeah,
have we lost you? I think we're losing John.
yeah. I
So
think like yeah.
yeah, go on with your next question.
So what would you have done if you were facing this? All right, so this is based on if he's he's already figured out who Rainmaker is. He already figured out that the Gap people is coming to get them, and his future self is coming. He knows that he sees that he figured out who's Rainmaker. So this is at the end where he's facing the situation that how can I prevent this? I'm here to try to prevent myself killing this kid, but now he can't reach him with his gun. So if you was facing the same situation, hold up, I got two questions.
Yeah, what would we do if we were faced with the same situation?
Yeah,
Would we do like the movie and off yourself, or what would you?
yeah, and then the third part of that question is like, then what would you do different?
From what the movie was explaining, either one, when he was sitting there in the diner, he should have offed him right away.
Yeah,
Period. If that's what you do, off him right away and be done with it. Well, of course, then you don't have a movie.
yeah,
Uh, uh, if you're actually in the circumstance where he's actually out in the field and all that, there's really nothing you can do unless he somehow was able to get his wife's name, Bruce Willis's wife's name, and could have pulled a Superman versus Batman, Martha moment, you
yeah,
know, where they're both like, "Why'd you say that name?" Well, that's my mom's name. Well, that's my mom's name too. I mean, if he could have just distracted him long enough for her to get away.
yeah,
Uh, but of course, the movie didn't ever say that. He didn't even get a chance to see the picture or anything. So,
yeah. I
uh,
mean, you remember in the diner, he said, "Show me your wife's picture," because I see it. I want to avoid it. I just find another girl. And I'm marrying you. It fits that problem. You save her.
yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let me rephrase that. Not how to fix it, but I have no idea how to change it any differently other than, I mean, and still be a movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
the
maybe
ending pretty much had to have happened that way. Um,
either happen that way, or either she's like, okay, she blow your hand off. He's holding the gun with his right hand.
yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of the whole. I mean, all right. So they both he
Well,
hooked up with well, I forget her name. He hooked up with the girl.
yeah,
You know, um, and I kind of thought that would have changed everything right there instead of because he had never done that in Bruce Willis's past.
yeah.
So and so then if that changed everything, why didn't Bruce immediately disappear or change from that end? You know?
He's still hell bent because remember he saw remember her, remember her, remember her, remember her, remember the face, remember the face.
Yeah.
He's in the sewer going after the other two kids just to remember her, remember the face, trying to keep the fresh memory.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to change that any other way. I mean, it was good writing is and I think you had mentioned it off air that he didn't want to get too the director
Yeah, they don't get too involved in the time travel stuff.
yeah, and I think that's why he kept it the way he did.
Yeah, because like I
Uh,
said, in the diner, he said, I'm not talking about the time travel stuff. We see him making Diane Reynolds be here forever. He just flat out said no.
yeah, exactly. I think that was the whole reason they actually added that in there. That those lines specifically, just so he could say, hey, we're not going to Doctor Who this. Hey, we're not going to Marty McFly this. We're not going to Star Trek it. Where you whatever. We're going to keep
Yeah,
it simple.
just keep it simple. Let's go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, probably had to end that way. And who knows? The kid could have still ended up messed up at the end, seeing all this anyway.
He
So
could have. Yeah, exactly. And then you know, we watched one. It was a Cinema Sins or again
yeah,
how it should have ended. That was it.
yeah,
Where it was like, hey, why am I being dramatic and shooting myself? And then he says, oh, how about I just be not leave the farm and I'll just be a good dad to him. And then of course he realizes, oh,
Oh,
I'm not here. Instead, I'm going to be back as a junkie, because they started getting into all those weeds.
yeah,
But it's like, really, if he would have just chose that at that point, you know, again, it's a butterfly effect.
yeah,
We've
because
talked about the butterfly effect on previous
previous.
pods and stuff. You know, you do something in the past, it's going to change everything in the future. So
See,
we have.
if you look
Go
at
ahead.
it, they showed him himself and him not tied up, and then gets away, and then shows all what happens after that. But then it flashes back to that same point where he's actually tied up and he just shoots him, like, and he realizes, oh, this is this, and he's that way. I think this is Bruce Willis' memories going back, him going representing him back. Hey, this is what I did after I did this. So,
Right.
and that, I think that ties in. But the,
Yeah.
my
I mean, because like the first, like the in the when Bruce remembers it, he had the mask on and he was shot and killed, and
yeah,
then got all the gold, and then this is how I lived. But then when he actually went back, you noticed the mask wasn't on, and he knew what was on his back, and so that's why he spun around to block it and everything. And we had mentioned earlier, we were talking earlier, one of the plot holes that we had mentioned is, okay, so Bruce Willis's wife got killed in the future,
yeah,
and they made her body disappear by burning the house. Why didn't they
just
burn Bruce Willis's
murder,
body there too, and just like, oh, it was an accident, it happened.
suicide.
Exactly, or something, it's like it's one of those. It's like, okay, well, why did they? And then the other question is, why don't they kill the people and just send them back in time to get rid of the body?
Yeah, you
I know they used the line that says you can't kill anybody in the future and get away with it. Well, you
well,
did on his wife,
yeah. Kill them,
So,
send them back, and you just got one person dealing with that bodies.
and all they're doing was, okay, they show up, and instead of them having to shoot somebody, they just get rid of the body.
Yeah. Oops.
It's
Well,
that's easy.
I put up. It was there. I burned it. That's it.
Yeah, or okay, well,
Ah,
it just happens to
hold on.
be I know where this furnace is that burns during the day and nobody else is around.
Yeah. See, another thing I saw and read into is how how to know where to be at what time to be at the place. Like, how did they figure it out? Well, you see, I think Joe picks up a thing, sees the time, and he just goes. But how do you know what location and how do they
I
figure
think
it out?
Abe I think Abe did I think that was something that was done off screen that they say, okay, you go to this location and then they'll give them an actual time and say, okay, here you go. You are assigned this time. Don't worry about the body, who it is. Just you take care of the body and get rid of it.
Yeah,
And then 12 hours later, or it's maybe once every 2 days or whatever. Hey, you need to be here at this specific time, and they already know the place. So yeah, that was one thing. The time machine didn't really say. I mean, going back to our pod a couple weeks ago with time machine, maybe it had to be that area because that's where the time machine in the future is built,
yeah,
and that's why it has to be linear and stay right at that location. That's why if you notice, every time he did it, it was next to the cornfield.
yeah,
Of course, it could have been, hey, you're at you want to do it out in the field because no one's going to hear the gunshot. You
yeah,
live around where I live around, and you hear gunshots all the time. You just don't care. you know,
yeah. No,
you just
oh,
get used to it.
get used to it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So we just asked, so how did Joe find out what time and what place to be?
I think John. I think John's froze up
It
again.
froze up again.
Yeah, because he's got that. He's
But
got the
maybe
stare,
yeah.
and he doesn't even know
That's
we're talking about him.
I have.
John Cena there. Hey! Well, you can talk then, John. It's just your videos froze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nope.
Nope. Now he's gone.
Let's go.
He
So
must be having internet issues where he's at.
issues. Yeah. So what? Okay, rabbit hole here, and we've probably been talking about it. What would you do differently? Like, how would you make kind of differently? How would you?
I honestly, I mean, if it wasn't for the two main actors, and actually, I know the female. I know her
Yeah, the
from
female's good.
something.
Yeah, the two feet the
Well, really, the
first
four main actors.
four main
You got
actors.
Abe, you got Joe, you got Joe, old Joe, young Joe,
Yeah,
old Joe, and then you got her, and I don't remember what her name was.
but then you have
All
said
of them were good. They
yeah
really did a good job. The story was pretty good. I mean, it kept you interested. I don't know really what you could change other than they didn't show anything in the future. I kind
yeah
of would have liked to have seen some of the future in what they were living in at that point. I mean, they did in old
Joe's
Joe's
shot.
kind of think as he thought along, but of course, it had him living in China
Yeah.
again. Why was he living in China when he learned French? And he
Well,
said he wanted to go to France.
well, remember
Why?
Abe said. You remember Abe said that, hey, you don't want to go to France. You want to go to China. You want to go here. That's where you want to be.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah. Kept
pushing a
asking him.
little.
Said, "Why don't you learn Chinese?" So
I was, oh well, I just want to do France. That's where I'm going. Like,
yeah, yeah,
what would happen
yeah.
if he just went to like he closed his loop and went to France and just with the same?
I'm assuming he probably went there originally, and it just didn't start. I mean, it didn't stay. You know, he probably went there and was like, "This isn't what I thought it was." Okay, I'll go to China. You know, and move into there. I'm assuming that's what's happening.
Yeah,
For those of you guys notice that we keep looking off the screen, our buddy John has got internet issues for sure, and he's texting us on our phone. So we're seeing that he's like, oh, I can't believe it. It was working fine, and now I've got nothing. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to have John for the rest of the night. Um, but anyway, but next week
yeah. I'm done.
we didn't get to talk about it next week, and actually, John never gave it to us, but we're going to. Well, actually, before I say that, is there anything else? Got anything else, Chad? I think we
No,
pretty much
we pretty much hit the nail on the head on this.
beat this dead horse. Like it was a good movie, and I will say, in a couple of weeks, we are actually going to do our top 5 and bottom 5 movies that we have watched this year. So, some kind of some of the criteria that we can't just say, oh, I just didn't like it. We're going to kind of explain why we didn't like it. you know is it I even said in our group text, I was like, okay, so let's talk about like the criteria. All right, so maybe the story, the plot, uh videography or special effects, for the time it was filmed, because some of these were filmed in the 60s, some were in the 70s, some were in the
In the
80s,
80s.
2000s, etc. And of course, entertainment value and rewatchability. To me, those are two of the big ones, especially because a lot of these are nostalgic for both Chad and I. We've seen some of these movies before. John this is his first time, so he's probably not grading stuff on these, and I'll be interested to see how off we are, or if any of my top 5 is in Chad or John's bottom 5. I will be interested in seeing that. But actually, we're not going to mention what we're going to do next week because we're still not sure. We started a text thread and Chad agreed and I agreed, but John
Well,
didn't. He
well,
didn't say anything.
hey, majority of the 3. We
But most likely we, because for those of you that don't know, it's getting ready to be December. We're going to do 2 in December. We're doing 1 next week, and then we're going to do our top 5, bottom 5, and then we're going to take a little hiatus until after the new year. So it's probably going to be a Christmas movie. It may or may not be science fiction, even though we are the sci-fi guys. Just because there's not a lot of science fiction Christmas movies out there. I actually looked it up. I think the only one I saw was like Santa Claus Goes to Mars or something. And I was like, we're not watching that. So uh, most likely we're going to watch Die Hard,
Die
just because I know John's never seen it. And a lot of people argue and say it's not a Christmas movie when
It's a Christmas movie.
they're wrong. So we'll actually probably get John's point on that and say, is it a Christmas movie or not? And then
Probably
we can tell
wear
him he's wrong.
Christmas shirts.
And yes, we'll probably wear Christmas shirts or whatever. So yeah, we'll try to get it a little bit bigger and better for next week. So uh, with that, I'll go ahead and say goodbye for John, and John says goodbye. And for Chad and I, and we're these sci-fi guys. Let's see. Oh yeah. Just so you know, this is the actual. Oops, add the stage. That's the movie we watched. All right. Just so you, if you're out there wanting to look for a DVD cover or something, that's the one. So with that, we are these sci-fi guys. That's with me, Chad, and John. Peace out.